The market is shaking, prices are dropping, fear is rising. Everywhere you look, headlines scream collapse. But beneath the noise, something else is happening. A rare window is opening, a window that only a few will notice, and even fewer will use. While most are stepping back, the smartest players are stepping in, quietly locking down deals that will shape their future. This isn't about panic, it's about precision, timing, and knowing exactly where to strike when the world hesitates. Economic headlines lately are sounding alarms. From rising interest rates and high inflation to layoffs in major sectors, many signs point toward a possible recession. While no one can predict exactly when or how deep it will be, one thing is certain: investors need to be prepared. As an individual investor, you don't have the power to change macroeconomic trends. But what you can do is take smart, strategic steps to protect your investments. In fact, some investors manage not just to survive during downturns, but to thrive. The goal isn't to avoid every bump in the road. It's to build a vehicle that can handle rough terrain without crashing. To get there, it's important to start with a basic understanding of how the economy moves in cycles and where real estate fits into that bigger picture. Historically, recessions are not rare events. The U.S. has experienced about 36 of them over the past 160 years. That averages out to one every 4 to 5 years. While the 2008 financial crisis might still feel fresh in many minds, it was actually an outlier in terms of its severity and its impact on real estate. Most recessions don't lead to massive crashes in the housing market. Knowing that provides some reassurance. It's not always doomsday when the economy slows. The economy moves through 4 main phases, and each one affects investing decisions differently. First is expansion, when business activity grows, unemployment falls, and property values often rise. This is followed by the peak, where growth slows and the market begins to cool. Many experts believe we're in or near this stage now. Then comes the recession itself, marked by declining GDP, job losses, and tighter credit. Finally, the economy hits recovery, where growth starts to return and opportunities begin to open back up. Recognizing where we are in this cycle helps investors make better choices about what to buy, hold, or sell. Real estate has a long track record of being relatively resilient during recessions. With a few major exceptions, like 2008 and the Great Depression, property values typically drop only slightly, often by just 1% to 2%. Rental income can stay stable, especially in strong markets. Interest rates may drop as the Federal Reserve tries to stimulate the economy, which can make borrowing cheaper. However, inflation complicates things. If inflation is high, the Fed might hesitate to cut rates, creating a balancing act between keeping prices in check and supporting growth. When preparing for a recession, the number one principle is this: cash and liquidity are king. Cash gives you flexibility. It helps you manage emergencies without selling off assets at a loss. It also lets you take advantage of opportunities, because the truth is, downturns often bring discounted deals for those who are ready. Building up a cash reserve should be a top priority. Along with that, securing access to credit, whether through a home equity line of credit, business credit cards, or other means, can act as a financial cushion. Just keep in mind, lenders tighten up when recessions hit. The time to lock in credit lines is before the downturn begins, not after. Another smart move is to take a hard look at your current portfolio. If you own properties that are barely breaking even, now is the time to ask tough questions. Could they turn negative if rents dip or vacancies rise? If so, consider selling while the market is still relatively strong. It's also a good test to ask yourself, would you buy this property today, knowing what you know? If not, maybe it's time to let it go. You want to hold only the properties you're comfortable keeping for the next 3 to 5 years. That's the kind of horizon you need during uncertain times. Where you invest matters just as much as what you invest in. Strong markets tend to hold up better in recessions. Look for areas with consistent population growth, which signals ongoing housing demand. Employment growth and wage growth also matter because they indicate that people will be able to afford rent or buy homes even when times get tough. Markets with diverse job sectors are safer than those that rely on a single industry. For example, a city that depends entirely on tourism might suffer more in a downturn than one with healthcare, tech, manufacturing, and education all contributing to the local economy. In general, primary markets, larger cities with established infrastructure and steady growth, tend to offer more stability than smaller, less diversified areas. For buy and hold investors, the strategy during a recession should shift from chasing appreciation to prioritizing cash flow. Property values may stagnate or decline, but steady rental income can keep you afloat and even profitable. When analyzing deals, be conservative. Assume rents might drop 5% to 10%. Expect longer vacancies. Build in a margin of safety rather than counting on best-case scenarios. Conservative underwriting isn't pessimistic, it's realistic, especially in a shifting economy. Another tactical move is to refinance before things get worse. When the economy slows, banks often pull back on lending. Interest rates can become volatile. If you can lock in favorable financing terms now, you may be able to ride out the storm more comfortably later, but don't stretch too far. Avoid over-leveraging. Keep your loan-to-value ratios at 80% or below. Too much debt can leave you vulnerable if property values dip or if cash flow shrinks. Staying conservative protects your long-term stability. Tenant management also becomes more important during a recession. Start by tightening your screening process. Look for renters with stable employment histories and strong credit profiles. Once you have good tenants, hold on to them. Consider holding off on rent increases, even if you technically could raise them. Keeping quality tenants in place, paying rent consistently, is often worth more than trying to squeeze a little extra income and ending up with a vacancy. For those who focus on flipping or short-term investing, a recession presents different challenges. The first rule is to avoid niche properties. Specialty homes may seem appealing, but they usually attract fewer buyers and become harder to sell during economic uncertainty. Stick to median-priced homes with broad appeal. These properties tend to move faster and hold value better. Speed is essential in a down market. Move quickly, complete renovations fast, get the property listed, and sell it before conditions deteriorate, and always have an exit strategy. What if the property doesn't sell? Can you rent it? Can you wholesale it to another investor? Could you offer a lease option? Being prepared with multiple ways out lowers your risk. If the market shifts dramatically, don't hesitate to cut losses early. Taking a small loss is much better than holding a property too long and watching its value drop further. Of course, beyond the financial strategies, there's also a mindset component to recession-proof investing. Start by writing down your investment criteria now before emotions come into play. When things get uncertain, fear can cause even experienced investors to freeze up or make bad decisions. Having a plan you've already committed to can help you stay calm and focused. Recessions create some of the best buying opportunities if you're ready and disciplined enough to act. Discipline matters more than ever when uncertainty is high. Stick to your numbers. Don't let hype or fear push you off course. History shows that many of the best deals are made during downturns, but timing the bottom perfectly is almost impossible. Instead, stay consistent. Focus on solid fundamentals. Be ready to move when opportunities arise, even if everyone else is hesitating. The rules have changed, but the game isn't over. It's just beginning. Recessions don't just break markets. They build fortunes for those who move right. Play it smart, stay sharp, and let the chaos work for you. For more breakdowns, deep dives, and no-fluff strategies, hit subscribe and turn on notifications.